Hey, what's up, guys? Just a word of encouragement here. We've got the inauguration coming up in a day, and a lot of people are again, a little stressed out and turmoil. They've got troops all over, D.C. For those folks that are worried about a possible riot or insurrection mounting and all this stuff. And I just want to give a word of encouragement here in our reading. We've been reading through Genesis. We're coming to the chapters where Joseph, he just goes on a trajectory that's just, rock of the rock bottom. He goes from numero uno in his father's house to a slave being sold into Potiphar's house, and then we end up in prison. Not much lower you can go, and then in an instant he goes from prison to the second in command of the most powerful nation, one of the most powerful nations at the time. God can do anything. God is able. He is well capable. We need to have faith and trust in him. And so maybe this is the time for a turnaround, or maybe it's time for God to show how he can keep a remnant of his people even in dark times, as maybe a transition is going to be happening with people that have told us. I mean, this, you can go on YouTube and check this. They've told us they are, they're going to lift restrictions on abortion. They're going to they're pushing for, possibly legalizing prostitution. They are, going to push the agenda of, what really is gender dysphoria, but transgenderism. They're gonna push that. They're gonna do all kinds of evil, vile, wicked things. They've already told us all this stuff. You don't have to go very far at all. They're very open about it. They see these things as good things. We should not be surprised if God's like, all right, I'm gonna pour out some judgment and wrath at this point. We shouldn't be surprised if the church gets persecuted. The true church has always been persecuted. The scratch your back on Sunday morning to tell everybody that live basically however you want and Jesus still loves you and you're going to make heaven too. I don't know anybody that hates that church, but that's not the real church. And so, we need to, from the beginning of the church through today, in various places in the world, lots of places in the world, the church suffers persecution. And obviously, many of these folks are, in their language, they're very pro-Christian and pro-Jesus and pro-church. But in their actions are where it's at. I mean, if you know anything about history, you know that Hitler, in his inaugural address, when he was voted in as the chancellor of Germany, he was like, God has brought us to this point for a greater moral. What did he say? It was like a greater morality, a greater time of, for Germany and all this stuff. I'm not sure what God he was talking about. Well, I am sure, but politicians have always been able to, in their language, dupe those that are fools. We need to not be part of those who go by language and talk. We need to look at action. God has always been a God of action, right? Bring fruit to prove you've repented. God has always been, go read the book of James. James 2 makes it very clear that faith without action is useless. It's nothing. It's not real faith according to how God views faith. And so I just want to encourage folks, whatever happens, God's in control, and we, the people of God, need to stick with him, trust in him, continue forward, and do what we are called to do. This is what the church has always done. And actually, the church has always thrived even more when it's persecuted. So, I'm not going to go pray for persecution unless God tells me to start praying that way. But if you look at the early church accounts in Acts, where they were persecuted, the revival broke out, what we call revival, right? The gospel broke out. People were saved. People saw the difference between what these people were and what everybody else is. So Understand, though, that God is the God of a last nanosecond turnaround. It looks hopeless, and that's where God's like, all right, now I'm going to roll up my sleeves and show you I am in control. When we still have, well, what about this? We can do this with Congress. We can do that with the Supreme Court. He can, Trump can play this hand, or these are not the things that we need to be putting our hope in. This is just not it. Our hope, hopefully, isn't in Donald Trump and the Republican Party or the Democrat Party or the Libertarian Party. I mean, hopefully our hope is not in these things. Our hope is in God. Our hope is in Jesus Christ. And we need to make sure that we understand God is in full control. And if he can take Joseph at the bottom of the barrel and literally take that barrel and flip it upside down. He's at the very bottom. Whoosh, now he's at the very top in an instant. We need to just trust God. We need to just trust God. So I love you guys. I hope this has encouraged you. If you're in this place personally and you're looking for a personal, we call them a breakthrough or a turnaround or but ultimately, if you're in that place where you need God to work in your family, in your life, in your job, in your, this kind of ties into our reading from Matthew as well. Make sure that we're doing our part, right? The parable of the treasure in the field, right? The various, actually several of those parables that we read today, they let us know it's total commitment, total abandon. We sell everything. We are 100% fully devoted, fully committed, 100%. If that's us, if we have truly made Jesus Lord of our lives, we are in a place that no one can take us from. We are in a place with God that nothing that the enemy throws at us, nothing can deter us, nothing can stop us. We are truly unstoppable. Now, unstoppable might look like getting your head chopped off in a prison cell, but you're still... That's what it is. You're unstoppable. And that's where we need to be. But remember, God loves to show himself in a turnaround. When we're at the end of the rope for man, we've lost all hope. It's totally dark, the dead of night, looks hopeless. Look at the greatest triumph he has ever done in the history of mankind. Jesus on a cross dying looks like total defeat, and yet God won total victory through that. He just loves to do that. He's the God of the comeback. It's so awesome. But we need to have trust and faith in him. Love you. God bless you. Hope this has helped you. And looking forward to hear what you get out of it as well. Go ahead and comment, like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff that we always try to remind folks of. And we will catch you on the next video.